outside. My soul is dancing on my cheek.
And welcome back to Around the World. This is a first for Around the World. In our 19 years of doing this show, it's the first time we've had a younger audience member, or
a guest
star.
Yeah,
guest star. Pierce Mahy, Maximus Mahy, and his dad, Justin Mahy, and his mom, Melinda Mahy. Thank you, guys.
All here, the whole crew.
The whole crew is here. This is a family that travels together, for sure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. And of course, you're from New Zealand.
Yep.
You visited New Zealand.
I have visited.
And so did Pierce, indirectly, right?
Right.
How did
right.
you do that? How did he get to New Zealand?
Well, actually, he was in Mum's tummy at the time.
Wow.
So Mindy here was pregnant, and so we were moving around the country with this little guy, and he was in a womb with a view. Sorry to steal the line.
I'm so glad someone did. And so, Pierce, how'd you like it? Oh, I guess he's...
It's awesome.
Mum's the word.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
You know, I mean, of course, we were watching New Zealand in the news this past week. A horrible earthquake.
Yep.
Shattered the country in the middle of the night, wasn't it originally? Or
Yeah.
And some aftershocks too.
It was a 7.5, and it got upgraded to a 7.8. I wouldn't say it shattered the country. It was like terrible in the Kaikoura region, and some stuff was shaking in Wellington for sure. Mm-hmm. But it was mostly, infrastructural damage. And
any injuries?
There were 2 people died, one of a heart attack, so that was heartbreaking. But it was nothing close to, what the casualties that could have happened.
Mm-hmm. And now the country is still having aftershocks, yes? A few aftershocks.
Still having a few aftershocks, and in Wellington, I think there's 60 buildings which are actually being reviewed right now, 30 of which I think there is some risk where they may have to deconstruct them. Mm-hmm. But everything seems to be under control, and I think the government announced an emergency package to help out folks. So, I think it's sort of fairly quickly resuming to business as usual, although obviously it's a little bit chaotic around, those 2 areas, in the Kaikoura and a little bit in Wellington.
So if you were planning to go to New Zealand, what area would you go to right now that you wouldn't?
I think most of the country is fine.
Yeah.
You'll fly into Auckland, which is the biggest city. It's not affected at all. Wellington, a little bit affected, but from folks that I've spoken to, it's fine. And then down on the South Island, there's some issues going around the coastline in the northeast,
right.
Which is that's the road less travelled anyway. But going down to Christchurch, going down to Queenstown, Wanaka, the lakes, it's fine.
That is okay.
What's it like to visit New Zealand?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, you take the beauty of almost any place that I've ever traveled, and all of those landscapes in New Zealand, it's stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the best time to go there would probably be our winter time,
Well,
right?
right, because the seasons are opposite. So we went in February, and it was beautiful.
So it's their summertime,
yeah.
right? And I mean, when you say summer, is it warm enough to go swimming?
When we were in the North Island, it's a little bit of it's more temperate there. So and when you're in the South Island, I mean, it gets a little rainy, cloudy, but gorgeous. Just adds more to the mood.
I mean, I know surfers like to go north of Auckland. There's a nice surfing areas up there.
It's quite tropical, I would say. Subtropical.
Uh-huh.
The water's beautiful beaches. We saw some wild horse running around on the beaches. I mean, it's truly. And it's spectacular.
Did you see any lamb running around?
Or was it on your plate?
They were on your plates.
So it was Walter Peak, right? Down in Queenstown.
Peak, yeah.
We actually visited one of the private farms that's still running, and we got to see a sheep shearing, and they take an old tugboat, right? Isn't that what it was?
Earnslaw.
The Earnslaw, which is an amazing way to see, some of the running working farms.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, then you get to eat the lamb, right? Which is awfully good, right?
New Zealand specialty.
I mean,
Right.
it is your specialty, right?
Well, my wife is a pescatarian, so she didn't dine on that, but I got to dine on it. Not the ones that we actually saw
No.
Sean.
Yeah, you don't want to actually know
No.
know them before you eat them. It's like giving your turkey at Thanksgiving a name before you serve it.
Not a good
You
idea.
know, here's Joe.
Right.
Bon
Right.
appetit. But of course, I mean, would you have? I mean, I know in England, lamb is such a traditional dish, and it's always served with mint sauce and jelly. Is that still
delicious?
Is that how we
Delicious.
have it in New
Oh
Zealand?
yeah, like having the roast lamb and carved, and it's definitely a highlight of going home and sitting around the table. I suppose it's very similar to how here in the States we'll sit around and have a turkey. In New Zealand, I suppose the equivalent would be having roast lamb.
Pierce, do you like lamb? And if you do have lamb, do you like it mushed? Or I remember there was Gerber.
Pureed,
They had
please.
Gerber pureed lamb, didn't they?
I think so.
I thought so. I mean, I love their carrots, the Gerber
Oh, yeah.
carrots. Remember that? I ate them even as an adult.
He's
You're still eating
I'm
them.
still eating them because that's all my teeth can do these days. Yeah, he thinks that's funny.
So if you were to go to New Zealand, how much time would you plan on spending there and get it so that you really get a feel for the country?
That's being an American, we're not accustomed to taking these extended periods of vacation, which, the Kiwis are. So we were there for 2.5 weeks. It was a little tough, to see both islands in 2.5 weeks. So if you can spare 3 weeks, highly recommended. There's just a lot to see, a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I've always thought about in New Zealand when I watch movies that make you think about those mountains, the Alps. You have your own Alps, don't you?
Yeah,
Really?
it's called the Southern Alps.
Yeah, and they're pretty dramatic in the wintertime, which would be our summertime. You could ski them, right?
You can heli ski them, or I suppose you can just watch Lord of the Rings.
If you don't want to be on the mountain.
Right.
But, I mean, do they have like little stubbles, little huts so you can sit and have schnapps and stuff like that? Do they do that kind of thing?
Yeah, they do. They do up on the ski fields, and there's also phenomenal hiking. So the Rootburn track, you can hike through the Milford Sound area. You can really get out there. You can get if you've got the funds, like helicoptered in and out. I mean, there's a lot of different I think alternatives for accessing that outdoor lifestyle.
But there are no ski resorts.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
tons
there-
of them.
oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So there's two main ones in Queenstown. There is Coronet Peak, and there's up on the Remarkables. There's another one which is just a short, 40-minute treble cone. And I think the US ski team trains there in the off season. It's very steep, great for moguls. And there's another one at Cardrona as well. So there's 4 ski fields really close to Queenstown. They're skiing in the North Island as well. I grew up skiing on Whakapapa.
Say
Mount
that
Ruapehu.
slowly, and we get in trouble. Wow. And right now, New Zealand is still affordable, right? Because the dollar's relatively
Yeah.
strong against the New
It's
Zealand
about
dollar.
it's about 70 cents US to the dollar. I would say that it's probably 2/3 of the cost of things. So it's affordable. It's not like a huge bargain, but at the same time, you get a massive amount of value for that just because how epically beautiful it is. And I think you'll enjoy the people as well. You make a lot of friends.
I already love the New Zealanders I know, so
I appreciate
I
that.
want to go.
Good people.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming in. Pierce, thank
Thanks
you
for
for
having us.
coming
Yeah,
in.
good job.
And you did it. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, Simon Clark is going to take us to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.